Hello 8th grade students, welcome to class. Got a couple of things we want to review with you before we get into today's activity. In today's activity, we're going to be solving a murder mystery using math. What you're going to have to do is you're going to have to solve linear equations in order to figure out who killed this dude named Mr. X. I got my whole ninja vibe going on, hope y'all like it. Y'all let me know in the classroom. Alright? I want you to go ahead and get this stuff down. You don't have a lot of notes, but I do want you to take notes. So go ahead on your sheet of notebook paper that you should already have out in front of your desk. I want you to go ahead and get this stuff down. All right? A couple of tips when you're solving linear equations. And some of this stuff is going to be a review from 6th and 7th grade when you learned how to solve one-step and two-step equations. First, tip number one.
You need to get all of your variables on one side of the equal sign. You don't want x's on both sides of the equal sign or y's on both sides of the equal sign. So you want to perform inverse operation to get all of your variables to one side. And it doesn't matter which side you pick. You can move all of your variables to the left side of the equal sign, or you can move all of your variables to the right side of the equal sign. Alright? Tip number two is after you get done moving your variables, you need to get all of your, and I'm going to call them lonely numbers. You'll see what I'm talking about when we get into the examples. Get all of your lonely numbers on the other side of the equal sign. So what you want to end up with is you want to have all of your variables on one side of the equal sign and all of your lonely numbers on the opposite side of the equal sign. And then you'll just continue doing inverse operation until you have isolated a single variable. And then you would have your solution. Alright? Make sure you get this down on your notebook paper because this is going to really help you when you're going around doing the scavenger hunt today.
Alright, let's look at a couple examples that are going to help you solve a lot of the equations, and that's going to help you narrow down the suspects and figure out what did they use to murder Mr. X, and also where did they murder Mr. X. And you're going to need to figure out all of that by narrowing down the suspects. Alright, so example 1. X minus 11 equals 16 plus 4x. Make sure you get this problem down and you copy exactly what I put on this board, because that's what you're going to be doing all this period. So make sure you know how to do this. If you don't, raise your hand, we can stop the video, and I'll answer whatever questions, me or Mr. Mitchell. We'll go ahead and make sure that this is cleared up for you. Alright, when I'm solving linear equations or any equation, I always like to think of this equal sign as like a dividing line. And to help us remember that, I want you just to draw a line right down that equal sign. That way, now you have two sides of your equation. Alright, we have the left side of the equation and the right side of the equation. And that's when we're going to start moving our variables. Alright, if you remember, tip number 1 was to get all of our variables to one side of the equation. Well, here I have two variables. I have the x on the left side of the equation, and then I have the 4x on the right side of the equation. They're on opposite sides, so I want to move one of these to the other side of the equation. That way I'll have all my variables on a single side. And me, just a tip, it's always better to move the smaller one. Alright, notice here we have 4 x's. I don't want to lug all of those 4 x's to one side, when I can just take this single x, 1x, and subtract it from that side. So if we look in here, I have a positive x, so I have to do the inverse of that. So the opposite of a positive x is a negative x. Alright, so those two are going to cancel each other out. But whatever I do to one side of the equation, I have to do to the other side of the equation. So since I took 1x from here, I have to take 1x from there. Alright, that keeps it balanced. Otherwise, it's not equal. It's not an equation. Alright, and now we just go ahead and do our math. X minus x, those two cancel each other out. So I'm just left on this side. All I have is this negative 11. I know that looks like a subtraction sign, but we think of that as taking away of 11, of an 11 quantity. So that's a negative 11. So here I have negative 11. On this side of the equation, I still have my 16. And then here I have a positive 4x. But I'm taking one of those x's away right here. So if I have 4 x's, I take away an x, I'm left with just 3 x's. And they're positive. I'm still in the positive. So here. Alright, I'm still not done. Alright, because now I have to get all of my lonely numbers, which here I have negative 11. It has no variable on it, so I call it a lonely number. And I have my 16 here. Alright, I want to get rid of this 16, so that way I'm left with just my variables on one side. So I need to get rid of this positive 16. Well, to get rid of a positive 16, I do the opposite. So positive 16, I want to subtract 16. Alright, and now we do our math. Negative 11, and I'm taking away another 16. So I'm going to go deeper into the negative. So that'll leave me with a negative 27 on the left side of the equation. Because negative 11, subtract 16, I'm going to get negative 27. On this side, positive 16 minus 16, those two cancel each other out. So I'm just left with my 3x. Alright? Now when we get it here, this should be an equation you are used to solving. It's just we're one step away from being done with this equation. So here, I need to get rid of this 3, so I'm just left with a single variable on this side. I only want my x. I don't want this 3 here. So I got to do the inverse operation. So here is, we're multiplying by 3. So I'm going to want to divide by 3. Do the opposite operation. I'm going to put that in red. The opposite operation. But if I divide by 3 on this side, I have to divide by 3 on this side. Alright? 3 divided by 3 is 1. So those two will cancel each other out, because 1 times anything is that number. So those 3's will go away, and I'll just be left with a single x, which is what I wanted in the first place. And then finally, negative 27 divided by 3 is going to be a negative 9. And we are done. That's it. I'm just circling my final answer. So I have that x equals negative 9. And that's how you solve a linear equation. So not that hard. We're going to look at one more example. Alright, example 2. Again, make sure you get this down. That way you'll have an example. You'll have 2 examples to go by when you're doing today's work. So when we look here, we read our problem. I have negative 2x minus 1 equals negative 9 minus x. So I'm going to, first, I'm going to draw my line down my equal sign. Alright? That way I see both sides of the equation, this side and this side. And remember, whatever I do to one side of the equation, I have to do to the other side of the equation. So here we go. First thing, when I'm looking at this equation, I want to get all my variables to one side. Instead of moving this negative 2x over here, I'm just going to get rid of this single x that's by itself. And the way I can do that, since this is minus x, it's taking away x, I'm going to do the opposite of that. So I'm going to add an x to both sides. So I added an x there, but whatever I do to one side of the equation, I have to do it over here too. So I'm going to add an x here. Alright, and now I'm just going to do my math like I normally would. So, negative 2x plus, and we always know there's an imaginary 1 there. So negative 2x plus 1 more x. Alright, that'll bring me to a negative 1x. Alright, minus 1. Right there. Alright, and on this side of the equation, I have negative 9. And here I have minus x plus x. Well, these two will cancel each other out. Because if I subtract something and then add it back, I really just cancel those two things out. So that's going, and I'm just left with negative 9 here by itself. Alright? And I'm going to leave that negative 1 there, but you know, we can always drop that and it'll just be negative x. Because those mean the same thing. But I'm going to leave that negative 1 right there. Alright? Now I want to get all my numbers to one side. Since I have all my variables on one side, I want all my numbers on one side. So I'm going to move this negative 1, and I'm going to add 1 to both sides. Do the inverse operation. Remember, always do the opposite. So plus 1 and plus 1. Alright? And now I just do my math, and these two will cancel each other out. Negative 9 plus 1 gets me negative 8. And on this side of the equation, I'm still left with that negative 1x. Alright? I don't want my x to be negative. Alright? I don't want my x to be negative. So what I'm going to do, to get rid of that negative, I'm going to multiply both sides by another negative 1. Because then that'll make it a positive 1. Negative 1 times another negative 1. I'll just do that to both sides. Alright? Because if I do it to both sides, I really don't change anything since it's an equation. So, negative 1 plus 1, that'll cancel those out and just leave my 1x. But since it's a 1, I can leave it invisible. And on this side, negative 8 minus 1, or negative 8 times a negative 1, will be a positive 8. And there's my solution. Alright? If you have any questions about that, I also uploaded this video to YouTube, so you'll be able to watch this video as you review for your test, and just in case you need help as you go around and figure out the murder mystery for today's lesson. Alright? You guys have fun out there. Alright, peace out.